Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and today I have this soft, sweet little giraffe card that I've put a fun, different little frame around. I've stamped the image already in advance before the video started. Instead of stamping the giraffe straight up and down, I kind of kicked it at an angle to fit the feel of the card, since my frame is going to be a little bit wonky on there. And I'm going to do some really, really simple coloring on there. I'm not focusing on being super duper in the lines or tons and tons of shading and blending. I'm just doing a really, really basic, simple coloring. I'm using 2 shades of yellow. The 2 that I used on this are Y11, which is a nice pale yellow, and Y21, which is just a little bit deeper. And then I'm using R11, which is a nice pink for the cheeks, and I'll also use that in the roses in a few minutes. And then for the greens, I picked 2 coordinating shades, which is YG03 and YG25. And I'm adding just a tiny bit more detail with that darker yellow, and then filling in the roses. And then I also, one of my favorite things to do when I'm Copic coloring is pull out a light blue. My personal favorite usually is BG10. It's called Cool Shadow, which is kind of fitting. And it's so fun just how a simple little outline around your image just makes it pop off the paper. Makes it look a little more realistic, and it really takes no extra effort. And I'm pulling back out that R11, the pink one, just to fill in those little hearts and add a little bit to the dots just to and detail it in a little bit. All right. And that is about all it needs on the coloring for the little giraffe. Now I have some pretty coordinating floral pattern paper, and I'm starting off just by picking my first angle on the first corner of the card. I'm using a tiny bit of Post-it tape just to hold it in place, and you could just trim this off with scissors to get a nice straight line. I really like using my paper trimmer, and it's easy for me to be able to line it up and just trim a nice clean edge. So I'm going to start off with that side, see how it fits around there, and then I decided just to go all the way around it. Originally I was actually just going to do 2 sides, and then I started thinking as I looked at it that it would be kind of fun to do the frame all the way around in this style. So what I'm going to do is just keep using, I played with my paper and my angles just to line up there to get it matched up so I had a straight edge on that side, just as if I was doing a frame. And I'm trimming off each part. I got a little close there on that part. And then trimming off, and then I'll just keep going around, taping it down each as I go. I could tape it before I cut, but I just liked being able to maneuver it a little bit more if I needed to. So I liked holding it in place with the Post-it tape. That worked really well for me. And I'm playing with it both ways. Eventually I end up using up a good part of the pattern paper, but it took me a little while to decide on each corner kind of how I wanted, and that edge wasn't super smooth, so I straightened it off a little to make it a smooth edge so I didn't have a rough, I think it was the side that had been torn out of the paper pad. You know how the top gets a little bit of the gum and goo from what's holding it together in the paper pad. All right, and then that final edge. Now you notice that last one I did not stick it down yet, the third piece, because this fourth piece I need to trim off and then make it fit into that frame. So I'm going to put that on, and then I'll mark. I couldn't find my pencil, so I just grabbed a pen, but I would suggest using a pencil so you don't, it's easier to erase and get rid of your little line of where you've cut that off. And then past the time when the video was done too, once I had this all on, I actually ended up taking a rectangle die cut and trimming off just to get a smooth edge around the outside edges as well. You don't have to do that. You could add some machine stitching with your sewing machine around the edges, or do a little bit of inking, or anything else you wanted to do. But I just mounted it with foam tape on a white card and tied some twine around to finish it off. Thanks so much for coming by. Hope you are having a great day.